أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum and thank you for joining us for this webinar on Arbaeen Ziyarat. This is, I think, the fourth or fifth year since we have been doing this webinar every year just before Arbaeen. Initially, we were doing this ziyarat just maybe a week or so before Arbaeen, but we realized that many people leave earlier, so we do this in the first week of Safar. First of all, those of you who have decided or are planning to go for Arbaeen, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah make it easier for you to complete all the requirements, remaining requirements, whatever, for example, are required for your trip preparations, just get them ready. Inshallah, you go there safely, you are able to perform the ziyarat in the best way possible, and inshallah come back safely to your family. If possible, please pray for mu'mineen who ask you to ask for dua for them, especially pray for the safety of mu'mineen, the brothers and sisters who are suffering in Bahrain, in Nigeria, in Hijaz, Saudi Arabia, in Pakistan, in Iraq, in Kashmir and other places. Please pray for them and for their safety. And also pray that this ritual of ziyarat continues and mu'mineen are able to enhance themselves spiritually through this ziyarat. There was a time that during the time of Saddam, this was stopped completely. So let's hope that this continues, inshallah. This is a very special webinar because we have been, alhamdulillah, to ziyarat also a number of times, and also for Arbaeen Ziyarat we have been there. Also we have participated in the walking twice, although we could not complete the entire walk, but we have participated in the walking. So this will be based on, first of all, our reading, secondly our own experience, and third, of course, based on our past webinars as we receive questions and inquiries, we try to cover them in this webinar. This webinar is being recorded. Inshallah, maybe after tomorrow or day after tomorrow, if you just go to academyofislam.com/Ali458. If you just go there, I'm just good for you, then inshallah you'll be able to get this entire webinar, also a recording. Let me just put for you the link. So if you go to this link, inshallah, either most probably by Monday, you'll find the entire webinar, including the slides, and also the recording will be there. So you are most welcome to download on your phone and share with other Zawar as you are there in Najaf or Karbala. Please feel free to share. There is no copyright. No, you can just share with others the slides and also the recording. Let's begin with the Holy Quran as usual we do, to just derive divine blessings and at the same time also guidance from the Holy Quran. There is a verse in the Quran which talks about taking provision for Hajj. That means preparation for the Hajj. Allah says, وَمَا تَفْعَلُ مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمُهُ اللَّهُ. Whatever of good you do, Allah is fully aware of it, right? Because as you are traveling, for example, for Hajj or Ziyarat, there are a number of good things you are doing. There are certain things you are doing it on your own, nobody knows. There are certain things people know about it. So there are things which are secretly, for example, you just talk to Allah, or there are certain things, for example, you do it in your group. Whatever good you do, Allah is just reminding us that He is fully aware of that. In other words, as you travel in this trip, you may find opportunities after opportunities for you to perform good deeds. For example, you might find somebody is in need. A traveler is with you. Maybe he is rich or she is rich back home, but has forgotten small things. For example, let's say small thing like nail cutter, right? What is the cost of nail cutter? If you go to the market today, the cost of nail cutter is only $2 or $1.50. If you go to dollar shop, $1.50, right? But this person, when he or she was packing, forgot nail cutter, right? And now is telling you, can you please borrow your nail cutter? Just try to help out. Any small things, for example, you'll find opportunities of doing good actions, or people who are poor, for example, if you can help them, whatever it is, right? وَمَا تَفْعَلُ مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمُهُ اللَّهُ. Or for example, you are doing, as you are flying, and because it is nighttime, the lights are off, even the passenger sitting next to you would not like that you disturb, but you can't sleep, for example. So you are doing zikr, right? Allah is aware of that. وَمَا تَفْعَلُ مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمُهُ اللَّهُ وَتَزَوَّدُوا. And Allah says, but make sure that you take provisions. Because sometimes people feel that, oh, we are going to the holy places, the mu'mineen will take care. I'm the guest of Imam Hussein, so Imam Hussein will make a way for me. No. Of course, Imam is welcoming you, but it is your duty to make provisions. Make sure that you take all the provision, what was required, just take. At the same time, don't take so many things that it's too difficult to then also travel. وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى. The best of provision, of course, Allah says, is piety, taqwa, right? But takuni ya ulul albab. And Allah again, instructs us, commands us, that fear, be wary of me. That means fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be good conscious, all people of understanding. Yeah, but takuni ya ulul albab. Ulul albab, people who are not heedless. Whenever advice is given to them, they try to follow it. So Quran Majid uses this word ulul albab 13 times in different places. It also actually, in one of the places, I believe in Surah Al-Rad, it also defines, it gives some of the qualities of ulul albab. People who understand, people who listen to the advice and follow it, people who are intelligent, right? People who are not heedless, people are not in ghaflat, right? Those are not ghafilin. But takuni ya albab, Allah says, no, fear me, O people of understanding. Allah Tabai in his Al-Mizan comments in this, it is a reminder that one's actions are not hidden from Allah. So don't think that as you are traveling, there is not a single, whatever you do in public or secretly or privately, Allah is fully aware. Of course, you know and I know that, right? But it's a reminder. It's just a reminder. As Tabai says, it's a reminder. Sometimes Shaitan makes us forget these simple things, right? So it's a reminder. It calls one to piety and fear of Allah so that one's acts of worship might not be devoid of the spirit of devotion, right? So make sure that as you are doing all these acts, because this is also an ibadat, as you are going for ziyarat, right? It should not be devoid of spirit. Make sure that you are not lacking spirit. It's not just this ritual that, you are going there, you will walk, you'll do ziyarat. No. It's supposed to bring about spirituality. Make sure that the piety is there. At every stage, there is some change in your life. I know some of the people who told me secretly that they are going for the first time. So that should be the case. Make sure that it is really changing you. And even those who are going for the second time, third time, fourth time, make sure that you are better off than you were before you start your trip. Okay, so that's very important. So Allah says that one's acts of worship, ibadat, should not be devoid of the spirit of devotion, that's devotion which is there, so that one might not go through the external rites of worship with one's mind absent and one's heart forgetful. It's not that you are just doing physical things. The mind and the heart also be with you at every stage as you are progressing. So it's a beautiful ayat, it's a powerful ayat. Keep this in mind. In fact, I advise you to memorize it. This ayat is a long ayat, but we've just taken the last part. وَمَا تَفْعَلُ مِنْ خَيْرٍ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ وَتَزَوَّدُوا فَإِنَّ خَيْرَ الزَّادِ التَّقْوَى وَاتَّقُونِ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. A beautiful ayat, inshallah. Hope that we will read about it in translation and also commentary. Since this is Arbaeen Ziyarat, so let's begin with a hadith on the Ziyarat of Arbaeen and its importance. There is, Shaykh Abbas Qumi says in Mafaz Ijnan that one of the fi kutub al-mu'tabara, that means in reliable books we will find hadith, right? These books from reliable hadith, books we say there's hadith from the 11th Imam Hasan Askari salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He says that alamatul mu'min khamsun. The signs of believer are 5, right? What mu'min khamsatun. And which are those? He says salatu ihda wa khamseen. One is that you perform what 51 rakat of namaz, right? So salat every day you perform 51 rakats. وزيادة أربعين and زيادة of أربعين. والتختم في اليمين. No, that means try to wear whatever a ring in your right hand, right? وتعفير الجمين, and put your forehead on the on the floor. That means on the turba, as we do inside that, right? And saying Bismillah Rahman loudly in namaz. Of course, this will not apply to ladies, because for ladies, when they say their namaz, for them to raise the voice, they have to be sure that there is no mahram. But if you are, for example, reciting namaz at home, and every member of the family in the home is mahram to you, then of course you can do that. But for men folk, you should know that all 5 namaz, although Zuhr namaz and Asr namaz is said without raising the voice, but Bismillah before the surah said loudly. It's mustab. This was the practice for Imam Ali al-Islam, and Imam has said that this is in fact the sign of a believer. So make sure that we in fact try to have these things. So these are the 5 signs of a believer. One of them, of course, is Ziyarat of Arbaeen. So you people are fortunate to be able to go there. It's really a great thing. I have been there. I have not gone for the last 2 years. Inshallah, hopefully, Allah will make us, give us opportunity to again go there. In fact, besides Arbaeen, it is also important, Maksus, to go to Karbala on the day of Ashura, middle of Shaban, and day of Arafah. So if you have been there, fine. If you've not been there, when you go there, as you are leaving the place, right? As you are leaving Karbala, just pray to Allah that, Allah, the fact that I'm thankful to you, you're given me opportunity to be here for Arbaeen. Now give me opportunity to come here again for the day of Ashura, or on the day of Arafat, or Shaban. Alhamdulillah, I visited Karbala all 3 occasions except for Arafat. So inshallah, pray for us that even we are able to go there on the day of Arafat. It is important that, as you can see that earlier, one of the signs of the believer, we said, Salat ihda khamsin, recite 51 rakat. What is 51 rakat? 51 rakat is 17 rakat which are wajib, and 34 rakat which are mustab. So mustab is exactly double, right? Which are those 34 rakat? One is, for example, early in the morning, just before Fajr namaz, there is 2 rakat namaz, known as Nafila of Fajr, right? There is 2 rakat. Then there is 8 rakat of Zuhr, Nafila of Zuhr, 4 namaz of 2 rakat each. So 8 rakat of Zuhr, and 8 rakat of Asr. So 2 and 8 and 8, 16 and 18, right? And then 2 rakat after Maghrib prayers, Nafila of Maghrib, right? So that is 20. And 2 rakat after Isha prayers, 4 rakat after of Maghrib. So there are 4. And then 2 rakat after Isha, but we say in the state of sitting, which is counted as 1. And then, of course, 11 rakat of Namaz al-Shab. So if you count all these Nafila, you'll find that there'll be 34. Because this the 2 rakat after Isha is considered as 1. And then 11 is also, 11 rakat, right? So if you take 11 and then 2, 13, and then 8, and then 8, and then 4, and then 1, you'll find that 34 is mustab. So when you are traveling, at least try not to miss Hajjud Salat, that means Nafila of Namaz al-Shab, which is 11 rakat, and Nafila of Maghribain, and of course Nafila of Fajr, right? These are very important in your travel. Don't miss them out. Hajjud, you'll find, inshallah, there is so much emphasis, right? People, especially just now because we are traveling, as we said, one of the main reasons is to enhance ourselves spiritually. And what will help you? One thing which will help you spiritually is Tahajjud Salat. You'll go to the Haram early in the morning, right? To try to be near to the Haram, for example, to the Zari, or in a place within the Haram, because just now in Arbaeen, you'll find is packed, right? So you go there for Tahajjud there, you got a lot of time. So make sure you don't miss out your Namaz al-Shab. Also Nafila of Maghribain. That means Nafila after Maghrib, which is 4 rakat, and Nafila after Isha, which is 2 rakat in state of sitting. And the nafila of Fajr, of course, automatically goes with Tahajjud, right? So 13 rakat. So these don't miss. There's a hadith which says that no, although a Musafir can say 2 rakats of Isha prayers and 2 rakats of Zohar and Asr prayers, but he should not miss Nafila of Maghrib. So make sure that we don't miss. And Nafila of Fajr also is highly recommended. In fact, Ayatollah Khomeini used to say that the Nafila of Fajr has same sawab as that of Salatul Layl. So don't miss out those things, especially when you are traveling, you've got a lot of time, spend your time in this thing. So this is regarding Namaz al-Shab, just a brief discussion. Surah number 25, which is Surah Al-Furqan, from ayat number 64 till the end of the surah. There's a beautiful description of Ibadur Rahman, people who are the servants of all merciful, Ibadur Rahman, right? So second quality Allah says is وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا. Those who spend the night of their Lord prostrating and standing, you can see. Sujjada wa qiyamah. Because sajda and qiyam are a very important part of namaz, so they spend their time in that. Try to lengthen their sajda, try to lengthen their standing, that means reciting long surah. So make sure that you don't miss out. And then if you just look at this ayat, there are 4 points you can derive. One is people who have made it a habit, because Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ يَبِيتُونَ. It is a present tense. People who have made the habit of spending their times for the Lord, right? It's become their habit. No? If you are doing it, fine. If you're not doing it, maybe this is the time that once you go for ziyarat, and then you pray to Allah to give you the ability to keep this habit of reciting this namaz, of namaz al-shab. Second thing, of course, those who connect this with the sacred hadith. There's a hadith al-Qudsi, which Allah's Prophet says to Musa, a true lover is not heedless of God. How? By sleeping the entire night. So when you don't spend, if you don't sleep the whole night, part of the night you spend in sajda and in qiyam, in namaz, then you really show love of Allah. So in this case, the phrase لِرَبِّهِمْ وَالَّذِينَ يَبِتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ, for the Lord, this shows that their love, a true love for the Lord. That's why they're doing it. Right? Number 3, of course, it is their habit of being awake at night for prayers and worship, shows that divine training is there. Because the word Rabb has 2 meanings. One is Lord, but it also means to train. For example, we say, Rabbi rahamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. Oh, have mercy on my parents, the way they trained me and brought me up, raised me during my childhood, right? When I was young. So when you start reciting Tahajjud Salat, and if you keep a habit, Allah will give you the strength. Allah will train your soul. Allah will train your body that you will just feel like doing it regularly. In fact, the day you miss out, you will find that it's not easy. You will not feel good, right? This is a training. Allah will train you this. So this is a two-way traffic. Once you start, Allah will give the ability, then you'll continue. And the fourth point, of course, is that if you, as Allah says, they try to spend the night, sujjadan wa qiyama. That means they spend the night. Alludes that this to this reality that they spend the night just for their worship, right? Although one is free to worship Allah in so many ways, but we use nawafil, as I said. We try to use nawafil, which is taught by the Prophet in Ahlul Bayt, and it was their practice. We have been told that Janabe Zainab salam did not miss her namaz al-shab on the night of on the night after Ashura. That means on Sham Ghariba. We say Sham Ghariba. On that night, all of you know, right? We just finished 12 days of Muharram, so all of us have fresh in our mind what Sham Ghariba is and what kind of difficulties the Ahlul Bayt face. On that night, Janab Zainab did not miss namaz al-shab. What does that tell you? How important it was, how beloved it was to be Janab Zainab, right? And not only that, Imam Hussein also, as he was living, one of the wasiyat which he gave to his sister, that, oh my sister, do not forget me. Do mention me in your night prayers. So Imam knew that Zainab is not going to leave this practice. So even Imam Hussein now is facing the shahadat. What more does he want, right? The best, giving shahadat, and that is also in the best way as Imam Hussein did, right? For the sake of Allah. one cannot reach a higher state. Right? Even then, he is asking his sister that although I'm going to die and I'll become Shaheed, and I'll not become Shaheed, but he'll become Sayyid al-Shoda, the chief of the martyrs. Even then, he's asking his sister that please remember me in your night prayers. So night prayers are so important, right? Please to remember. And this is the best time. During your trip to Iraq and during your trip to Ziyarat is the best time that you know, in fact, have this practice. Some of the reflections which we need to keep in mind before departing for the trip. This really helps, right? You still have time. For example, today is 3rd of Safar. By the time Arbaeen begins, it will be 20th of Safar. Maybe you are leaving 1 week before that. So you still have 1 week before you travel. So knowledge, marifat about the person. You are going to visit Imam Hussain. You are going to visit Abbas al-Islam. You are going to visit Ali Akbar. You are going to visit all the Shuhada of Karbala. You are going to visit, inshallah, because you are going to walk, then you are going to go to Najaf first, Imam Ali al-Islam. You are going to visit 6 Imams and so many Shuhada and so many scholars, right, who are buried in Iraq. Have the marifat, have the knowledge about those people, who they are, how important they were to Islam, what was their contribution, what was their teaching, what was their practice, right? Try to get this knowledge as much as possible. Gather that thing. You can also read as you are flying, for example, here all the way, for example, wherever you are going to Istanbul or Dubai or whichever is your point. So those long flights, use this thing and try to have the marifat, right? That way, your eagerness to meet them, your eagerness to do the ziyarat, your eagerness to be near them will increase, right? You'll be waiting for that moment that let me go and visit this person about whom I read and so great. He's such a great person. Understand and ponder over our station. Make sure that you take with you the books or the ziyarat which you are going to recite there. But before you do that, read the translations. So once you are there, because there is no time and because there is a rush, you may not have time to read the translation and the Arabic, right? You may read either one of them. But just now, at least read and understand. So when you are going there and you are reciting, because you already read, you will realize that who this person is. Because in many ziyarat, almost, you always find the merits and the fazilat and the significance and the contribution and the greatness of that person, right? So since you read about him, you pondered over it, again, as you are reading it, it will help you connect to the person. Because most important, once you are near that holy person, holy soul, you would like to get connected with that person. And that happens when you have read about him and you realize how great that person was. What if we were to visit them during their lifetime? How different would it be? For example, just now we are going there, Imam Hussain has been martyred and has been killed, he's there. But imagine if he was living. Now, how different would be your attitude? It should be the same thing, because mind it, when you visit the Imam or this Shuhada, although you don't see them, but they see them. They see you, right? Allah said, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا, right? Do not consider those who die in the way of Allah as dead. No, but ahyaun, they are living. But you don't realize that they are living. So they know that you are visiting them. When you say Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah, believe me, I'm telling you with confidence. Every time you say Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah, Assalamu alaikum Abul Fadl Abbas, there is in fact a response from the grave of Imam Hussain back to you. Wa alaikum assalam ya Ali, wa alaikum assalam ya Rada. No, whoever, for example, wa alaikum assalam ya Fatima. No, there is a response, right? So imagine if you were visiting them when they were living, how different it would be. For example, total humility and reverence when hearing. As you come near the haram, people sometimes have so many things to talk. They talk politics, they talk other things, right? Leave aside those talking. As now you are nearing the haram, you are nearing the holy place, forget about everything, try to be humble. Imagine that you are visiting Imam who is living, for example. He was there. What kind of awe will be there, right? What kind of attitude will be there? What kind of respect and reverence will be there? So that reverence and humility should be there. All the talks can be done later on. But once we are visiting, total silence and respect and reverence, right? That will bring that love for of the Imam. That you'll find that connection. Everybody want to connect to the Imam, to the holy soul. All these will help you when you do this kind of thing. Renewal of the pledge to the Imam. Most important, every time you go, for example, when you go, most of you, for example, go to Amirul Mu'minin first, right? As you go there, recite the ziyarat, is there, the cool water is there. But for a moment, just pause. In your own language, extend your hand towards the zari and say, Ya Imam, I'm extending my hand to just renew my pledge, my bayat, that I am your Shia, you are my Imam, you are my leader, you are the divinely appointed Imam, Allah has appointed you. So I am extending. Make sure that you renew your pledge. That yes, I am here, Imam, I'll come to you. If you were leaving just now, I would extend my hand. Even the ladies, for example, some of you will see when you go to Ayatollah Sistani, inshallah, in Najaf, if you say, I would like to give my hands, he will put a hand on his hand, he will put a cloth on his hand, and then he will give his hand. So he will allow you. He will allow Ayatollah Sistani, allow many ladies to actually shake his hand over the cloth, right? So renew your pledge to the Imam, right? How can I change on account of this trip? This is very important. Each one of us, please write down. Before leaving home, just put in your diary somewhere how different I want to be. How can I change? How can this trip change me when I come back? Try to write. Once you write that becomes your goal, right? That becomes your hadaf. That becomes your objective. And then you will work for your objective as you go. So it's important that we keep that in mind, that you try to see how you can change. We go to next slide, number 6. Ensure that we do not delay or miss our salat. Now, this is very important, brothers and sisters. All of us are going for ziyarat, maybe 99% of us, or even more than that, 99.5, 99.9 are doing that as musta. Only those who have done nazar, for example. You might have done a nazar that, if such and such thing happens to me, then I make wajib on myself to go for Arbaeen Ziyarat. If you don't have a nazar like this, then your ziyarat is mustar, right? And since it is a mustar, it doesn't make sense that in the process of doing something mustar, you are doing a haram thing. So do not delay your prayers, or do not miss out your, because to make your namaz qaza is haram. To miss your namaz is haram, right? So you cannot, it doesn't make at all sense that you delay your prayers or you miss your prayers just because you are going for ziyarat. And let me tell you one thing, there are people who think, oh, Allah knows very well that I am in a very difficult situation, so Allah will forgive me. No, yes, Allah will forgive you, Allah is all forgiving and kind, but Allah says that no, when you are traveled, you will still say prayers, right? Except that you will say qasr namaz, but you will still say prayers, all the conditions required, taharat, wudu, right, ghusl if required, qibla, the place to be mubah, the clothes to be mubah, the wudu water is mubah, all those we have done learn in madrasa, those requirements will still apply as you are saying your prayer. So make sure that we follow it. Listen to this hadith from the 6th Imam, a beautiful hadith, but it is first time when I heard this hadith, I could not believe how important it was. And because of that, every time I've gone to ziyarat, I make up, not only ziyarat, I was just now visiting Africa. Every time when I visit, I try to make a point, I don't miss my prayer, right, when I'm traveling. And not only that, I also talk with others, try to impress upon others that they should not miss out. See what Imam says. Imam says, Hajjatun afdalu min ad-dunya wa ma fiha, right? A sunnat hajj is better than this world and whatever is in this world. Now imagine what is this in this world. All the wealth and all the gold and all the estate and all the properties and everything. No, a sunnat hajj is better. And then Imam says, وَصَلَاتٌ فَرِيدَةٌ أَفْضَلُ مِنْ أَلْفِ حَجٍّ, right? And a wajib prayer is better than 1,000 such hajj. That means sunnat hajj. You can imagine. One wajib prayer is better than 1,000 sunnat hajj. Do you see how important it is? So brothers and sisters, make sure as you travel, you are well equipped not to make your namaz qaza and not to delay it. Okay, it's very important. In fact, at Sistani, people went to them, some of the youths who were visiting at Sistani some years ago, and they also, like some of you, were first time going for ziyarat. they went to him and said, give us some advice. And we'll give you the link. There's advice of him, beautiful advice. Just from this advice, we have taken a few passages. It said, it is one of the essentials of the ziyarat that the pilgrim, that means Zair, in addition to remember Imam Hussein's sacrifices and devotion in the way of Allah, the Exalted, observes the teachings of Islam, including those related to prayer, hijab, self-reform, selflessness, and moral etiquette, etc., so that his pilgrimage may be a step towards developing and training the soul for accepting these and consolidating their effects until the next pilgrimage. So do you see, Agha is telling us, how do you train your soul, right? By just make sure that you follow the prayers and hijab. Now hijab, again, I've seen people when traveling, they talk to Namaram so freely, as if, I don't know, they think that, oh, because it's part of my group, so she'll become Maharam to me. No. Although she is part of your group, she's still Namaram to you. If she was Namaram before, she's still Namaram. Doesn't mean that she's in your group or she's part of your travel group, so you can now chat easily with her or him. No. That doesn't. Keep your respect, right? It's very important that this is observed. No, self-reform, that how we can selflessness. Let's not try to be selfish as we are traveling. That always try to see our comfort and what is good for me. Usually, for example, if you are sharing the bed, right, with 3-4 people, if you are the first person to choose the bed, don't try to choose the one which is most comfortable. Choose the one which is most discomfortable, because there are other zawar who are coming, who are guests of Imam Hussein. For example, when you have guests at your home, what do? You give away your room, right? You give your room to them because they are your guest. You try to accommodate them, give the best place. In the same way, the other Zair who is with you is a guest of Imam Hussein, is a guest of Imam Ali al-Islam, right? So on behalf of Imam Ali, on behalf of Imam Hussein, you will give that person the best place and take something which you think may not be the most comfortable. So try to be selfless, right? No, not to be selfish. Moral etiquette, akhlaqiyat, very important, so that his pilgrimage may be a step towards developing strength. Agha says, for fear Allah in relation to your prayers. As stated in the hadith, it is the pillar of your religion and the ascension of the believers, right? We have been told, as-salatu umud-ud-din, it is the pillar of religion. Wa mi'raj al-mu'min, it is the mi'raj of believer. If it is accepted, all other acts will be accepted. In kubilat, kubila ma siwa, right? Hadith says that if Ziyarat is what Hajj was, Salat is accepted, everything is accepted. And if it is rejected, all other acts of worship are rejected, right? So it is important. No, in kubilat kubil ma siwa, in ruddat rudda ma siwa. If Salat is what rejected, then everything else is rejected, right? And then we have told if it is what befitting for believers to offer their prayers on time, because Allah loves those who rush to prayers as soon as they hear the call, right? So you can see that Allah loves the moment prayers are said, azan is said, just rush for it. So depending where you are staying in Makkah, sorry, in Karbala, in Najaf, in Samarra, in Kassamali, based on that, make sure that you leave earlier to be there on time. And not only that, because there's so much rush that it will be difficult for you to get there on time. So go earlier, right? It is important. So keep this in mind. And then Agha continues to advise, he says, it is not appropriate for a believer to engage in any other acts of worship in the prime time for prayer, because prayer is the best form of obedience. At the time when Salat becomes wajib, let's say, for example, in the morning, say 6 a.m. Right now, today was 6 or 7 like this. So 6 a.m. At that time, nothing else is important than prayers, right? That is the most. And then it has been narrated from the Ahlul Bayt that our intercession with Allah will not be won by the person who depreciates or undervalues the prayer. So you can see Agha is reminding us that anybody who takes prayers lightly, right, will not receive the shafaat of Ahlul Bayt. And we are going all the way to Karbala. We are going all the way to Najaf and Kassamali and Samarra for what? so as to be closer to the Imams, who will become our Shafi, who will become our intercessors. But then they have said that if you what take prayers lightly, it doesn't matter if you go to Karbala every year. No, if you go to Karbala every year, even then, if you take your prayers lightly, you will not receive the Shafaat of Imam Hussain, because it's clearly will said. No, Allah also is reminding us that no, Ahlul Bayt have said that no. Not only that, he is reminding us about an incident which also is mentioned in Najib Balagha, that today, because it has been reported, Imam Ali said the battle of Jamal, right? We must know that if we act as per their advice, it is hoped that we shall be resurrected along with their friends. So today, although we are 1,400 years after the events of Karbala and after the events of what Ahlul Bayt, but what happens is that if we follow their advice, then as if we are with them. As Imam says, no, Allah says that Imam said to somebody in Battle of Jamal, today we are accompanied by those who are still in their loins of their fathers and uteruses of their mothers. That means somebody who was not born at that time, right? But Imam says they are with us. Why? Because we follow their advice. And here in this slide, for example, this slide, you'll find that this slide number 8 at the bottom, the entire message of Ayatul Sistan is there. As we said that this will be posted on our website, so then you can just try to click there and try to go to the slides, those entire message of Allah. We go to the next slide. This hadith is beautiful hadith, which comes from Al-Kafi, one of the important books of Shias of hadith, whereby it tells us the purpose of ziyarat, right? What is the purpose of ziyarat? It says, "An Hasan ibn Ali, Ali al-Washa." Ali al-Washa is one of the companion. He says, I heard Imam Rida al-Islam saying, "Sami'tu Rida yaqulu inna li kulli imamin ahadan fi unuki awliya'ihi wa shiyatihi." He says, for every imam, there is a covenant, there is a pledge on the neck of his friends and followers, the Shias, like us, right? On our neck. Inna tamamil wafai bil ahdi wa husnil adai ziyarat al-kuburihim. One of the way of fulfilling this covenant and completing this this covenant is by visiting the grave. So when we visit the grave, we are completing that kind of ahad, that kind of covenant, that kind of agreement, that I am the follower of Imam, and I would like to show my respect to Imam. I would like to just fulfill my pledge to the Imam. One of the way is by doing the ziyarat, right? Going to the grave as we are going, right? One who goes there with a sincere desire of visiting them and with conviction, then the Imams will intercede on their behalf on the day of resurrection. Do you see? So it is your sincerity, right? And your devotion to the Imam which will attract the Imam Shafaat on the day of judgment. Do you see? So make sure that as we go there and get close to the Imam and undertake that commitment, that here I am, I've just come for my pledge, and I pray to Allah that you will become my Shafi, you become my intercessor on the day of judgment. So do you see? This is the purpose. It gives the purpose of ziyarat, to go and just try to fulfill the covenant, that pledge which have with Imam. There are many etiquettes of ziyarat. The books are filled. I'm sure many of you have some of the books now, and also online if you go there. But let us mention just a few of them. Sheikh Abbas Qumi, again, Mafatul Jinan, has a whole chapter, a whole section on ziyarat. You'll find that this Mafati has the whole section, the last section is on ziyarat, right? And then when he starts his next section of ziyarat, he mentions about 20 or so etiquettes of ziyarat. All of them are mentioned there. Some of them are here, right? He says that if possible, try to travel on select days. Better to travel on Saturday, on Tuesday, and Thursday. Now, I understand that many of you are going in a group, so you have no choice. Whatever your leaders have decided, you will live accordingly. You can't say, oh, because Monday and somebody is going to Samarra, the bus is going from Karbala to Samarra, I can't go, it's Monday. No, that is a different thing. Whatever is within your reach, you do it. In any case, these are recommendations. These are not wajib. So if you were to travel on Monday or Wednesday or Friday before Zohar, then just take out sadaqah. I remember just now, I was in Dar Islam last Thursday. So one of my cousins says, how good it would be that you leave after Juma prayers. He was right, because I was there on Thursday evening or Thursday morning, and he's telling me, why don't you do that? I said, let me go because my flight was there. Alhamdulillah, no, we just took out sadaqah and prayed to Allah for the safety. So not only that I did not say about Friday prayers in Dar es Salaam, but I was able to reach home before Friday prayers, and I said my Friday prayers in Toronto, right? So where you don't have a choice is a different thing. Where you have a choice, try to select to travel on Saturday or Tuesday or Thursday. Fast for 3 days. Again, it's mustahab to fast for 3 days before ziyarat, preferably on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Otherwise, you can also fast on any other days, but you can do on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Next thing is, every time you go for trip, as you leave from here to Iraq, from Canada, or from or States, or from wherever you are joining us today, from Europe, if you are in this webinar, then that is a big trip, right? Take out a big sadaqah. But then at every stage, for example, you'll travel, for example, from Najaf to Karbala. You're going to travel from Karbala to Kassamali. You're going to travel from Karbala to Samarra, right? Or, for example, you reach Istanbul. You're going to travel from Istanbul to Najaf, right? At every stage, try to take out some sadaqah. The fourth Imam says, in Abi Ishtara as-salamata, I think the fifth Imam, he says, in Abi Ishtara as-salamata min Allah azza wa jalla bima tayassara. Fifth Imam says that my father, fourth Imam, just purchased the security, the peace for the travel. As-salamata min Allah, from Allah, bima tayassara. With whatever he could give in sadaqah. So whatever is within your reach. But when you give out sadaqah, that is like an insurance against all the kind of bala, mishaps and afflictions and unexpected problems. So it's important that you give sadaqah at every stage. Okay, make sure that we do that, and especially when you are going and after you take out sadaqah, see before going if you can just make sadaqah reach the poor. It doesn't make sense, for example, that you put money in sadaqah before going to Iraq, right? You pay, for example, let's say $20. Now that money is lying at home in your sadaqah box. You say, oh, when I come back, then I'm going to go and give Jamaat. No. Before going, make sure that it goes to the poor, right? Because when you give to the poor, that person receives it and he prays for you. So his prayers or her prayers helps you, right? Say some of the recommended du'as. There are many du'as recommended for prayers. You can, again, for travel, you can just look online. You go to dua.org and other places. Even if you just Google, you'll find there are many du'as which are recommended. One of the hadiths which I remember often, that the Prophet says that the best companion during your prayer is reciting 5 surahs. Before going on, just recite 5 surahs. Which are those 5 surahs? The 4 kul, right? The 4 kul. Qul huwallahu ahad, Qul a'udhu birabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bin nas, Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, right? And the 4 kul and Surah Al-Nasr, Surah Al-Nasr, Iza jaa nasrullahi al-fath, right? So, which is Surah number 110, right, of the Quran. So these 5 surahs, if you recite, of course, Ayatul Kursi is there and many other things are there, but the Prophet says if you recite these 5 surahs, is the best companion on the trip. So try to recite those recommended du'as. They really help. Since my childhood, since we've been taught, I was in madrasa, we always try to, say some of the du'as, which has really helped us, right? And then another etiquette of your trip, brothers and sisters, is very important. The hadith says, "Min fiqhil musafir hibzun nafakati," right? One of the etiquette of the travel is that you take care of your money, take care of your valuables. Don't be negligent. It should not happen that, for example, because of negligence, you lose the money and then you become beggar. It's the worst thing, for example, that as you are traveling, you have to ask people, can you please help me? I'll send you back from my home. No, people may help, may not help, right? But it's really embarrassing to be in a state whereby you have to beg somebody. So make sure, there are people who have traveled so many times, take tips from them. How do you preserve your money? Where do you keep? In the bags, with yourself, in the wallet, or in special pouches? There are different ways. People who travel often, they'll give you some kind of tips how to save your money. Although nowadays, mashallah, because you go with the kafila, so you give them everything, so they take care of, for example, they take care of your. You'll find that they take care of all the accommodation and food, so you don't need that money, but still take care of that. No, okay. I've not seen. They say there's some questions. Somebody has posted some questions. I could not see it. If you can just write it down there. I get messages that somebody has posted some questions, but I cannot see it. No. If you have some questions, you can post there. Otherwise, no. Just here, if you can just chat down here, and we'll try to answer. You go to the next slide. As you are traveling for ziyarat, brothers and sisters, one of the most important things which people overlook is the rights of fellow travelers, fellow zawar. As I said earlier, every zayir is a guest of the Imam. If you are Najaf, you are the guest of Amirul Mu'minin, so is your companion who is traveling with you. So don't try to be mean. Don't try to be selfish. No, make sure that you keep their rights. Okay. So here are 3 hadiths from the 5th, 6th, and 7th Imam. Although there are many hadiths, but we've just chosen this hadith from 5th, 6th, and 7th Imam. The 5th Imam says, it does not matter if one visits this house if he does not possess 3 traits. So Imam says, even if you visit Khana-e-Kaaba, it doesn't matter. No, if you lack these 3 conditions, 3 things. It's important that you have these 3 qualities rather than visiting the Kaaba. If you visit Kaaba, but if you lack these qualities, then it doesn't matter. No. So what if you're visiting? One is what? Cautiousness, which prevents him from sinning. Try to stay away from all kind of sins is very important. As you are traveling, as you said, interacting with the non-mahram or other things, right? Forbearance, which helps him rule over his anger. Don't lose your temper because somebody is late or somebody is happening, or for example, your travel agent or your caravan leader had said that we'll do certain things and he or she could not provide that thing. You start fighting with them. That should not be the case. I remember I went to Ziyarat during Saddam's time, and there was one person who lost his temper so badly and started fighting that the caravan leader said, if you are going to make noise, we will just hand you over to Saddam. Imagine if that person was imprisoned by Saddam. This person got lost in the prison of Saddam. Saddam was brutal, right? So make sure that you always have forbearance. You have that kind of hilm, forbearance to control your anger, and good interaction with the fellow believers, with those who are with you. So these 3 things are important. One is taqwa, to keep you away from haram. Second is hilm, forbearance, to control your anger. And number 3 is interaction with people, that how you interact with others. It's very important that your interaction is good, right? The 6th Imam says, you should be good companion to those who accompany you. Speak less and say only that which is good, right? So try to be a good companion. Speak less. Again, people, I see everybody becomes expert during trip. Everybody wants to talk and say so many things. That should not be the case, okay? Just be a good observer. Be a good listener. Try to learn from others, So speak less, right? And say only that which is good. Mention Allah increasingly. Dhikr of Allah, Subhanallahi, walhamdulillahi, wa la ilaha illallahu, wallahu akbar, right? In every this tasbiyat, the word Allah comes, right? Astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-azim, right? La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Those beautiful tasbih which you have memorized, right? Many of you, just say them, So try to mention Allah increasingly. Wear purified clothes. Make sure that as you are going to Haram, your clothes are park and decent. And perfume. Try to apply perfume except when going to Karbala. Sheikh Abbas Qumi says when you go to Karbala, at that time, don't put perfume, because it's a very moving, experience as you near Karbala, as you come to Imam Hussein, whom we mourn, whom we remember every year in Muharram and throughout the year. So when you go to Karbala at that time, don't put the perfume. But besides that, for every haram as you go, try to have perfume, right? Ghusl is good before going to holy places. Now, when you perform the ghusl, of course, make sure that ghusl is mustab. So, when you go for ghusl, if you are sharing the room with companions, make it very fast. Don't try to spend a lot of time in your bathroom that you are delaying others, okay? Or, for example, if there's limited water, you've been warned that there is limited water. In that case, just perform wudu. There is no need of ghusl because mustab. But where water is there, where you can perform, then perform the ghusl. And every ghusl which you perform lasts for 12 hours, right? Mustab ghusl we are talking about, no? So if you perform ghusl, for example, and if nothing has happened which breaks your ghusl or wudu, that can last for 12 hours. Of course, if your wudu breaks, then you have to renew the wudu. For example, if you perform the ghusl, then again, next time you are going early in the morning, you can perform another ghusl. Again, but keep in consideration other people's requirement. No? Ghusl before going to holy places. Be humble, as we said earlier. In kisari, tawadu. In Urdu, we say, try to practice in kisari. Establish a lot of prayers. Besides wajib, mustab, salat, just do that. Pray for your parents, pray for your brothers, pray for your relatives, your grandparents, right? Pray for imam, even for the imams. For example, every ziyarat you give 2 rakat namaz, hadiya ziyarat, right? It is mustab, for example, to recite 2 rakat namaz, with the niyat of hadiya ziyarat. So if you go to Karbala, you say this is namaz for hadiya ziyarat, right? Just try to say, okay. For sadaqah during travel, will it be okay to give online source, for example? Yes, of course, that's fine. You can give any place you find comfortable. You can give sadaqah. Whether here, you should be comfortable. That you are giving to the right source. Also, can you summarize 9th point on etiquettes of ziyarat? 9th point. Which was the 9th point? Etiquette of 9th point. I'm not sure. Can you just remind me what are you talking about? The 9th point of the etiquette of ziyarat? No, we said that about 20 points in Mafat al-Jinan. We don't have time to cover all of them, but if there is any special point, please remind me. So Namaze, the hadith on the main purpose of the. Oh, I see. Okay, so that was, as we said earlier, right? This is the hadith, the main purpose. That you go there, as you can see, one who go the best and the complete way to fulfill this covenant, because we are the Shias. There is that kind of covenant. There is that pledge. There is agreement between we and the Imam. So to show that we are indeed committed to the Imam, one of the way is by doing ziyarat to them. So once you go to ziyarat, just say to the Imam, "Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, here I am. I'm visiting you." Right? I could not visit you when you were living. Allah, I was born many centuries after that. But by visiting the grave of Imam, you are fulfilling that pledge, that covenant. Right? So that is what one of the main purposes. Then the hadith from the 7th Imam says regarding that whosoever prays for his brothers in belief in his absence is called from the throne. O servant of Allah, you will have 100,000 times as much reward as one may receive for this prayer. This is very important, brothers and sisters. You are really fortunate going there. I'm sure as you are going, your family members, your parents, your friends, your relatives must have told you, please pray for me. Don't just listen to that. Don't just say, oh, okay, I'll do that. No. If somebody says, pray for me, take a book note, small booklet, keep it with you, right? And write, for example, that Ali or Hassan or Hasanayn has requested you to pray. Note it down. Go there, open that note, right? Because you will forget that so and so has asked me. So as you, for example, finish your prayers, you are sitting there in the haram, because some of the best timings of prayers are after azan, right? After azan, before ikama, or no, and after namaz, immediately. These are the best timings, right, of the prayer. At that time, for example, you're going, for example, before Fajr prayers, so you're doing tahajjud, you're finished your namaz shab, you're waiting for Fajr namaz. These are the best timings for the prayers, right? Dua. So open that note. That when I was, for example, in Toronto, when I was in London, when I was, for example, in Markham, so and so requested me to say for the prayers. Remember them, because see what Seventh Imam says, that when you pray for others, you'll find suddenly that there is a no call from the throne of no, from the below throne of the no. Whoever prays for others is called from the throne, from the arsh of Allah. O servant of Allah, you will have 100,000 times as much reward as one may receive for his prayer. So when you pray for others, the reward is 100,000. What about if you don't pray for yourself? Automatically it's there because you are praying for others. One of the hadith says, when you go and do niyabat, now for example, you perform your ziyarat and now you're going again, you do niyabat for somebody else, you get 10 times the reward. Say, for example, you are going to ziyarat on behalf of your parents, you are going to ziyarat on behalf of your uncle, you are going to ziyarat on behalf of your alim, or any, for example, for that matter, right? You will get 10 times the reward of that. You can imagine, right? So make sure that you pray for others also. It's very important. So if somebody says, please, so and so, you are going for ziyarat, please pray for me, don't take it lightly. Immediately take a pen and write it in your notebook and keep that notebook with you as you are traveling. It's important we do that, right? Now, some of you might have seen our demonstration. You can go to online and just even Google, doing wudu with spray bottle. Just Google, you'll get that thing, right? But we have also put the link here, right? You go there and it will show you that how to perform the wudu with a spray bottle. Now this may help you at several places. For example, sometimes you want to do your wudu whilst you are doing your zikr in the plane. Your wudu is broken, right? Now you don't want to again stand up and go to the washroom again and again and renew your wudu. Maybe there is no time. Maybe there's a long line, whatever it is, right? Or for example, sometimes they are serving the food. So when they are serving the food, they block the aisle, right? They block that pathway. So until that time they finish serving the food, maybe it takes 1 hour, sometimes even more, you are blocked to go to the washroom, right? But you want to be in the state of wudu and do zikr. Just use this spray bottle. You can sit whilst you are sitting on your seat, plane, you can do that. Or for example, you go to the haram, right? And you got a very good place in the haram. Now your wudu is broken. For you to go out all the way to the washroom or to your own hotel back and perform the wudu and come back, it may take half an hour, 1 hour, depending on the rush, right? And you will never get your place again. Forget about it. No way, no. When millions of people are there, you will not get. So you want to stay put, and your wudu is broken. This spray bottle helps you, right? Because when you use the spray bottle, you don't spill the water around there. So people don't complain. Otherwise, for example, if you take a bottle, normal bottle or a glass, and if you do wudu, there'll be so much water, or so much water which will be spilled on the musalla, on the place around. People are going to complain, what are you doing, right? So spray bottle, just try to see that you can do wudu with your spray bottle. It's there, it's demonstrated. Just try to check it. Also, you can carry this spray bottle. If it's a small, under 3 ounce or 100 milliliter, you can carry on board. You are allowed. As you are checking for on your plane, just take out that bottle which has water and take out separately. So put in a tray as you put your laptop or for example iPad in a tray as you are going through the security. Take out that bottle which has water. So once you show it to them that you're this bottle which is under 100, they will allow you. They won't ask you to spill it or drink it, because it's under 100 milliliters, because under 3 ounce, they allow you, right? And of course, once you use it, for example, in the plane, when they give you water, you can just fill that again. Right? Ensure that you spray enough water. Make sure that you spray enough water and until the water is dripping. That's important. Washing should be different from wiping, because you are washing, not wiping. So there should be enough water that you are able to wash your face, you are able to wash your hand and hands, right and left. Because you are using spray bottle to do wudu, just limit yourself to wajibat. No, mustahabat is okay. No, if you miss them. Use bathrooms for wudu or spray bottles when traveling by plane. So when you are traveling, for example, you can do your wudu in the bathroom, in the washroom of the bathroom, which are in the plane, or you can just use the spray bottle. No, renew your wudus using spray bottle whilst in the haram if you would like to keep your spot, as I said earlier. Ladies, sisters, make sure that when you perform your wudu with spray bottle, the non-mahram are not there. So either you do it but cover yourself well, okay, or if it is at night time when you are flying, for example, it's dark in the plane, there's no problem, right? Because even if, for example, if you expose your feet to do massage, or if you expose your hand to wash them, because it's dark, nobody is watching, so that's fine. But otherwise, if you have to do your spray bottle and you do wudu while others namarum are there, so make sure that you don't expose them. Keep that in mind. Otherwise, you have to go to the bathroom and perform your wudu. We go to the next slide. Some of the tips regarding saying prayers on board. As we said earlier, right? You are traveling, most of you are doing ziyarat, which is mustahab. It's not wajib. It doesn't make sense. There are clear indications in our religion which says a person cannot perform haram in the process of doing mustahab thing. So you are going for a mustahab ziyarat, but in the process you are missing out your namaz. You can't do that. So in some cases you have to say your prayers on board. Say if you are flying from here to London, from Toronto, I'm talking from Toronto. You are flying from Toronto to Dubai. You are flying from Toronto to Istanbul, or you are flying from Toronto to Doha, right? All those places you are flying, these are long haul flights. These are very long flights, whereby your prayer time will begin and end. So your namaz will start and becomes qaza. You can't do that. You cannot allow that. So you'll be forced to say your prayers on board, on plane in some cases, right? So these are some of the points. If you are scheduled to arrive at your destination early enough to go through security, perform wudu, determine where the qibla is, and find a place to say your prayers, then you are allowed to say your prayer as the destination. You are allowed to delay your prayers at the destination before it becomes qaza. So, for example, let's say that you are flying from Toronto to Edmonton, right? Or Toronto to Calgary, or Toronto to New York. Let's take New York, many of you know, right? From Toronto to New York. Now, from Toronto to New York, for example, the flight is 1 hour and only a few minutes, right? So, say, for example, that you are flying at 5 p.m. Your flight is at 5 p.m. leaving from Toronto to New York, right? And then you are going to reach there at 6 p.m. or 6:30. And the namaz gets qaza, for example, at 7:30. Zohri namaz, we are talking, let's say it's summertime. Namaz gets qaza at 7:30, right? So there's enough time for you to land in New York, go through the security, find the qibla, do wudu, and find a place for namaz before that qaza. In that case, you can say your namaz in New York if you want to do that. No, you don't have to say your namaz on board. If you had not said your namaz whilst before leaving at 5 p.m. If you had said namaz, Zohar, that's fine. So if there's enough time, then fine. Otherwise, say your namaz on board. Say qasr salat on board, except if you are a frequent traveler. Person who is kasirul safar, he would say no, full namaz. Otherwise, all of us, because most of the time what happens, even if you fly out of Toronto, you fly out of New York, you fly out of, for example, Dubai, right? They will say, as you are flying, you are supposed to be seated and belted, right? Until the plane is now on its way, stable already. That means the ascending, the plane leaves, right? It ascends all the way. When it is in the air, then they will put off the light of the belt. By that time, you are already out of the city. So automatically you are musafir. So say your namaz qasr. When traveling, it is advisable to maintain the tahara, ritual prayers of your body, and close till at least prayer time. So, for example, when you are traveling, there may be, for example, you are going from here to London. Your flight is at, say, 8 p.m., right, or 6 p.m. So You will say your Maghribain namaz and also Fajr namaz, because by the time you reach London, it will be already 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., depending when your flight has reached, right? So you will say your what Maghribain namaz and Fajr namaz on board, right? If possible, until Fajr namaz time is over, try to maintain your taharat, not wuzu, taharat. It means if you have to use your washroom during that time, make sure that you keep yourself parked. Don't be negligent in using the washroom. That the drops of urine spills on your body or on your cloth and become najis now. Be careful, right? So try to maintain tahara if possible, right? Your body till at least prayer time. For those who can retain their wudu, let's say, for example, that you left your place, you are traveling from Toronto to London, right? Your flight is at 7 p.m. and Maghrib time is about 9 p.m. as an example, right? So it's 2 hours. If you can do wudu in Toronto and you can maintain your wudu for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, so keep that. So when the time prayers come, you can just say your prayers without wudu, because you're on wudu. If you can't, you can renew wudu. Yeah, we'll come to that. About Fajr, we'll come to that inshallah, okay? So this is regarding maintaining your taharat when you are on plane, you know. And then once you've done that, you know, for those who can maintain the wudu, fine. Otherwise, we just, you know, renew your wudu on plane. We go to the next slide, number 3. Ensure that the prayer time has begun. This is where your question is. You make sure that prayer time has begun. How do you know that? In olden days, there were ways also to doing it. It was difficult, but now it's very easy. All of you have got smartphones, right? I believe. Just download an app known as Halal Trip. Do you see this logo on the right side? This is the logo, and this is the Halal Trip. Halal Trip 11. Halal is in green, Trip is in black. You know, if you just go and download Android or even, for example, iPhone, whatever phone you are using, right? Just download this Halal Trip. Once you download this app, Halal Trip, you will put your flight details there. That you are leaving, for example, from Toronto to Istanbul. Your flight is leaving 5 p.m. and going to Istanbul, reaching, for example, there at 11 a.m. Istanbul time, for example, whatever is there. If you put those details in your app, then it will give you an idea that when is the Fajr time on the way. Now, two points. One is all the timings there are according to Sunni fiqh, right? So what you do, for example, they say that your Fajr time has come, has already reached as you are flying. Give yourself another 10-15 minutes just to be safe. Ihtiyat, number 1. Number 2, if your flight got delayed, you were supposed to leave at 5 p.m., but you left at 6 p.m., right? It was delayed, or 5:30. So when, for example, as you are trying and your halal, for example, app says it's Fajr time, no, make sure that you delay another half an hour because your flight was delayed. Because initially you put the details regarding based on your schedule, on your itinerary, right? But then it was delayed. So keep this in mind. So this is very good halal trip. 2 points, as I said. If your flight is delayed, adjust accordingly. And number 2, give some time, because maybe there'll be slightly difference in the timing. So not slightly, just 10-15 minutes extra. You are just sure that's how your timing. If you don't have this app, then of course it's difficult. For example, one way is that you can ask the people who are flying with you or the steward there, ask her when is going to be sunrise. Now, when is, as you are flying, for example, from Toronto to Istanbul or Dubai, you can ask them when is sunrise. So she will tell you, okay, another half an hour or 1 hour. So if they tell you another half an hour, 1 hour, just before sunrise, you can just say your prayers, half an hour, 20 minutes before sunrise. Although you delayed your namaz, but you're not made namaz qaza. You can do that, right? So you can approximately. Because it's very difficult to ascertain what dawn. Provided that, there are also, on the flights, there are ways whereby you can know the location. It will tell you, for example, as you are flying, there are programs, if you just go and on your television, if you choose about your flight, where the flight is over which city, so it will tell you you are near this city, right? So if you have the timing of that city, then you can follow that. For example, as you are flying from, let's say, from Toronto to Istanbul, right? And then you are flying over. So, for example, it tells you that you are flying over, maybe you are going towards north. Now you have reached, for example, London, or for example, any city on the way. It says, for example, there is an arrow which says you are near to this city. If you have the timing of that city, then you can follow it. Otherwise, this halal trip is the best. What it really helps. It gives you both. It gives the direction of Qibla. It gives the timing also. So you can follow the direction of Qibla. That's fine. You can rely on them. But timing just makes some precaution. Okay. Next is, face completely towards Qibla direction when saying Takbiratul Ihram. Now, once you're done your wudu, once you determine the time has already started, now halal trip will also raise the direction for Qibla. So just stand up from your seat. Stand up towards, only just for a moment. It will take only 1 minute. Stand up, for example, whether if Qibla is straight or on your right side, left side, also back. Just turn back slightly on your seat. Turn back if the Qibla is in the back. And just say Allahu Akbar, Takbiratul Ihram. And then sit on your seat. Now, although as now you are flying, you are not flying towards Qibla, but the fact that you said your Takbiratul Ihram and Qibla, that's enough. Okay, so that part should be important. Let's say your Takbiratul Ihram in the state of standing, facing towards Qibla. I hope you all understand. After that, just sit and then say your namaz. Now you will say namaz, for example, look, namaz has 4 status, right? All namaz has that 4 state. Standing, right? Standing, then there is ruku, right? Then there is standing again, right? Then there is sajda, and then there is sitting, right? There are 4 states, you see, standing, ruku, sajda, and sitting. So what you can do whilst you are sitting on your seat, right? Sitting straight against the back of your, for example, seat, straight. That is qiyam. Slight bending considered as ruku. More bending is sajda. In between is like sitting. No? So just through gestures, just make gestures, for example, within yourself. Make 4 state on your seat, for example. No, this is how you can say your prayers as you are doing all this sajda. Now, of course, there are some scholars who are very strict. They believe that no, you go back of the plane where they have, for example, they are serving, there is a kitchen there. You ask them to give you a place to say your prayers. No, now, of course, not necessary. This is not required, especially post 9/11. There is so much Islamophobia there. You may be in a difficulty, the problem. Yeah, if you are flying in Islam Muslim airline, for example, Iran Air or Saudi Air, or maybe sometimes maybe Qatar, I'm not sure. They have room. They have a place whereby you can go and say your prayers. Then, of course, you are going to say your prayers normally, standing in ruku and sajda. Otherwise, you can just sit on your seat and do the prayers. Okay, keep this in mind. So, but some scholars insist that you go back there. Some scholars, for example, I'm in Toronto, we have got Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Rizvi, who believes that no, post 9/11, there is no need for you to go out of your way and stand and try to find place and go through this thing. No, just perform your wudu, stand up for Takbiratul Ihram, do the niyyah for Takbiratul Ihram towards Qibla, Allah Akbar, sit on your seat. Even if it's not going towards Qibla, the flight is not going towards Qibla, just say your prayers there and finish your prayers. Question: if you follow these rules, what we told you, do you have to repeat your namaz when you go home? No, you don't have to. Your namaz is fine. Okay, your namaz is okay. You don't have to say, "Oh, I said my prayers on my plane, whereby I could not do ruku, I could not do sajda, I was not facing towards Qibla, so let me repeat it." You want to repeat? Fine, you can do that. It's not required. Okay, because you have said your prayers with all the requirements, right? This is all what we discussed. All these things are there, okay, in the slides. So I'm not going to discuss. These slides have all the details. Some Qatar Airlines have a note on our TV that say that do not stand for prayers. In this case, we may do that. Yeah, No, of course, no. Let me tell you one thing. Do not stand. That means throughout the prayers, don't stand. No, everybody stands right in the plane, for example, to stretch yourself, to go to the washroom, to do this thing. So when you just stand for the Quran, there is only less than a minute. Nobody's going to say anything. Okay, no, don't even tell anybody you are doing that. You just stand up, turn towards the Qibla, and just sit on your seat. What they mean is that do not stand throughout the prayer time, which is no 4 rakat, 2 rakat, 3 rakat. That's what they mean. But standing one will not bother at all. Nobody will even know that you did that. So keep that in mind. But for example, even if that is not possible, then of course you can do the Ram while sitting. But my experience, alhamdulillah, I have gone to Hajj and Ziyarat many times. I would travel. I'm just coming from Africa. I was there last 2 weeks. I've never found any problem just standing for the Ram. It takes only a minute. Niyat, of course, you've done your wudu, you've determined the takbir or the qibla, just stand up, do the niyat, say the takbir and sit. Nobody will bother. Nobody will know that you stood up. No. But thank you for the question. Okay. There is a book I hope all of you have, especially those who are doing Taqlid Fatul Sistani, is that this is an Islamic Laws 3rd edition. No, I also put the picture there. Try to get a copy of this. This is a very good book, recently published with all the masails and good English, professionally translated. So we have taken just 2 masala from that book. A traveler can perform tamam, that means complete prayers in the entire city of Makkah, Medina, and Kufa, and in the shrine of Haram of His Eminence Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam Hussein, up to the distance of approximately 11.5 meters. From the Segagir, the area known as High. We'll come to it just now. And the next masala is, if a traveler who has not performed prayers arrives at his hometown before the time of the prayer has expired, or he arrives at a place where he wants to stay for 10 days, he must perform tamam prayers. And if you do not perform prayer at all the time, then you begin your trip qasr. So let's go to the first prayer. Because just now we are talking about Karbala, Iraq, right? So Kufa and Karbala will apply to you. The entire city of Kufa, you can say full prayers even if you are there for less than 10 days. In Makkah, Medina, and Kufa. And Ayatollah Sistani says Masjid al-Sahla is now part of Kufa. Like for example, in our cities, Toronto has expanded so right big that now we say it's a GTA, right? Now we call it a GTA. GTA then it's Greater Toronto Area. So which is a huge, right? Which covers Markham, which covers Mississauga, which covers Brampton, which covers all those areas as part of GTA. Which covers Aurora, Newmarket, Richmond Hill, right? In the same way, Kufa has expanded so much that Masjid al-Sala is part of Kufa. So if you are in Masjid al-Sala, even for less than a day, or even just for Maghribi namaz, you can say full namaz. Okay. Now, as far as Karbala is concerned, I'll come to your question. As far as Karbala is concerned, the only place you can say full prayers, it's not must, you can say full prayers is the place known as Hair. Hair is 11.5 meters surrounding the second meter, 25 feet. In modern day, if you go to the Haram, inshallah, those of you have been there, fine. If you've not been, inshallah, may you reach there safely. Once you go to Karbala, there is a room where Imam's body has been buried, right? The Imam Zari is there, that shrine. And there are many rooms around there, so many rooms, but there's one room. So if you are within that area, that is higher. You may say full namaz. But there's no chance you can say namaz there because there are so many people there. So most of the time, you'll be saying your namaz in the courtyard of the Haram, where namaz Jamaat takes place. Now, the courtyard of the Haram where namaz Jamaat takes place is outside the higher. So if you are staying less than 10 days in Karbala, you'll say Qasr namaz for Zohr, Asr, and Isha. Are you with me? Okay. Does this process apply for nafila, for prayers while driving to work? Yes, of course. Yeah, nafila, you can also do the same masla. If you can face towards Qibla, and say Takbir al-Ihram, that's fine. You don't have to stand up. For example, you are driving, right? So you can't stand up. You will harm yourself. So just face towards Qibla, say Allah Akbar, and then say nafila namaz. No. Don't stand up and don't try to. And also make sure that when you are saying nafila while driving, safety is most important. Don't compromise on your safety. So when you're doing sajda, for example, or ruku, and you slightly bend down, Should not bend so much that you cannot see the street in front of you, or you cannot see, for example, a passenger. So safety is always most important than nafila prayers or mustahab things. Keep that in mind. The next masala is, if a traveler who has not performed, now for example, let's say that you are traveling from Toronto to Istanbul. Your flight is at 3 p.m., right? You left home at 12 noon to be at the airport by 12:30, right? When you were at the airport, namaz time had already entered, but you were busy checking out, and security and all those things. You never got the time to say the prayers, right? At 3 p.m., your flight left. So when you were in Toronto, namaz time had started. You were supposed to say full namaz, but you could not do that. Now at 4 p.m. already you are in the plane has now already left, and now you're settled, the sign of belt has gone off, right? You want to say your prayers. What would you do that? In that case, you'll say Qasr namaz. You can't say, oh, when I started my namaz, I was in Toronto. No, you will say Qasr namaz, because now you are musafir. Are you with me? You will say Qasr namaz, okay? In the same way, reverse, for example, that you did not perform your prayers. For example, when you were flying back into Toronto from Istanbul or from London or from anywhere, right? You were flying back, and then on the way, for example, it was 4 p.m., right? And your flight reaches Toronto at 5 p.m. It was 2 p.m., your namaz time was there already, you did not say your prayer. So you were musafir, you could have said Qasr, you did not say. You reached home before namaz became Qaza. So you are in Toronto, for example, at 5 p.m. Namaz is going to get Qaza at 6 p.m. At 5 p.m., 5:30, we are at the airport. You'll say now full namaz because you are back home. Okay? So make sure that you will see in what condition you are. When you are saying your prayers, if you are musafir, you will say Qasr namaz. If you are back home, you will say full namaz. Doesn't matter when the namaz started. Okay? That is masala here. If you don't understand, you can talk to your resident alim locally there, they will explain to you. Okay. Next slide. Praying full in Iraq, as we said already, right? Haram of Imam Hussein in the Hayl, in Masjid al-Kufa. We already said this thing, right? Now, when you go to Kufa, Masjid al-Kufa, it's very important to say namaz there. One prayer is equal to 10,000 prayers. The reward of saying one namaz in Masjid al-Kufa is equal to 10,000 prayers. So when you go to Kufa or Najaf, because Kufa is just after Najaf, when you go to Najaf, you'll visit Kufa, inshallah. Now maybe because because of the rush or because of your caravan, they will take you to Kufa only once, Masjid al-Kufa. If you can go more, of course, let your caravan leader know, you should do that, because there's a lot of sawab. And you can take a taxi there, cab, which will take you there. And nowadays, mashallah, there is safety. It's not like olden days. No, it's a safe place as long as you know what you are doing. So, or you can go with somebody home, or you can, for example, take a taxi, tell him to wait for you and bring back. Okay, so that way, at least you're not confused. Now, tell them, the taxi driver, take me to Kufa, Masjid al-Kufa, I'm going to say prayers and wait for me and take me back to my hotel in Najaf. He will do that, right? But the reward of saying namaz in Masjid al-Kufa is 10,000 prayers. One wajib prayer, the reward is equal to one hajj with the Prophet. Imagine if you were to perform hajj with the Prophet, what kind of delight and sawab you'll get, right? So when you say one wajib prayer in Masjid al-Kufa is equal to like saying one hajj with the Prophet. If you say mustahab prayer in Masjid al-Kufa, is like performing umrah with the Prophet. And on one hadith says, the sixth Imam says, if people were to know what are the merits, they would come to Masjid al-Kufa crawling. Do you see how much important that even for example, let's say you can't walk, Nauzubillah, you are handicapped, you will even crawl but go to Masjid al-Kufa. There is so much reward, right? Special prayer of hajat in the middle of masjid, There's a place, Masjid al-Kufa, there's a middle place. 1,000 prophets have said their prayers, and 1,000 awsiya, the wasi of the prophet have said the prayers in that place. So try to find that spot and say the prayer of hajat there. Again, don't forget, as we said earlier, pray for others also, right? It will be a venue for the prayer of Imam Mahdi. When Imam Mahdi, inshallah, comes, and when he will establish himself, one of the places is going to say his prayer is in the the middle of Masjid al-Kufa, right? That will be the venue. Now, Masjid al-Salah also is considered as part of Masjid al-Kufa, as we said. So you will say full namaz if you want to, Isha namaz. Okay, we go to the next slide. This is those who are going to walk from Najaf and Karbala. Now, I already saw that. I saw so many flyers and TV screens announcement that there is already some workshops here locally whereby they're going to discuss about walking. So I'm not going to spend much time here other than any questions. We've got 4 minutes before we complete this thing. So you can read the notes we have put on this slide regarding walking Najaf to Karbala. Slide number 1. I'm just going to just please read all those 5 points before I go to the next slide. So this is the next and the last slide for today, right? And that is regarding walking from Najaf to Karbala. We welcome any questions, please. If you have any questions, you can, again, as we said, this being recorded, so you can listen to it, you can download, share with others. You can put your question now. If you feel that you want to ask later, you can also email us, right? I hope all of you have our email. Any questions? We still have 3 minutes in case of any questions. Okay, since we have 3 minutes, I will discuss this thing, walking from Najaf to Karbala. These are the few advices, right? Know that the background to walking and whether it is part of adab of ziyarat or not. Yeah, it is important that some people believe that it is part of the ziyarat, it is a requirement. If you can't walk, then you not perform ziyarat. No, that's not the case. This walking is done because there is a hadith which says that if you walk towards the ziyarat, for every step, you get so much reward, right? That's one thing. Secondly is that it's kind of what etiquette, adab, that you are going to the holy place whilst walking, right? You show your humility. Third thing, of course, is because Zainab al-Salam was made to walk, right? As you know, that this caravan, after they become captive, sometimes they were made to walk, sometimes they were made to sit on the ride. So they'd walk for long distances. Also, Imam Zain al-Abidin, right, as prisoner. So we are just trying to, as we are walking, we remember that all that kind of tragedy and the torment and all the kind of difficulties faced by the Ahlul Bayt, right? This is the whole idea of walking. But if you cannot walk, if you did not walk, don't think that your ziyarat is incomplete and invalid. No, keep that in mind. Okay. Traveling light during walks. Yeah, you feel like taking so many things. Don't do that. I remember that when I started first time walking, I just walked for about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. I was carrying my laptop with me, and I saw that even that laptop, although it was not very heavy, but it was weighing me down. So immediately I knew on the way, alhamdulillah, after half an hour, I passed by a hawza, outside the haram in Najaf. I passed by a hawza near Masjid Hannana. Near Masjid Hannana, there is a hawza of Khojas there. So I knew somebody. I just went there and kept my laptop there. I said, I'm going for walking. I'm going to Karbala. On the way back, I'll come and pick up my laptop. So I did that. So try to be as light as possible. Especially don't carry food. There is a lot of food on the way. Just carry your medication and one piece of cloth, for sleeping, for example, an extra cloth, for example, if you need to just be careful. If you have to, for example, have to do taharat like this. And then, of course, travel light during, if possible, try to travel early in the morning. It's pleasant and not rush. Immediately after, after tahajjud salat, say your tahajjud at, for example, 3:34, start walking. So by the time we'll find that in the Fajr, on the way, of course, there'll be Fajr prayers. You can say your Fajr prayers when Azan is said, and then continue walking. and try to take rest earlier. For example, by 6:30, 7:30, just retire. So you'll get a good spot to get rest also, and then you will be spending the night, sleeping and everything. So keep that in mind. Drink a lot of fluid. That's important. No. Yeah. Also, unfortunately, I find WhatsApp messages saying that if you go to this mawkib or this pole, you'll get pizza. If you go to this pole, you get, for example, peri peri. If you go to this pole, you get chips. We are not going for this kind of things. No, we are defeating the purpose, right? We are not. Mashallah, we got enough to eat. No, are we going there to eat? No. So please keep this in mind. That should not be the intention at all. Our intention is to participate in this kind of tragedy, which the Zainab and the caravan face. It's 12:31. Any questions? Any further questions? If not, I'm just taking back the slides. You can see very quickly from beginning. If anybody would like to, go there quickly. Again, please, if you remember, give salams to the holy souls you visit on our behalf. Just say that from so and so from Toronto has sent salam to you, Imam. Right? Say prayers for us, and especially pray for the safety and the protection of mu'mineen all over the world. Again, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this wonderful opportunity to do this presentation for the last 4th or 5th year in line. And may Allah accept these efforts. May Allah take you all safely to the holy places and bring you back to your places. And may Allah accept your ziyarat. وصلي على محمد وعلى الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد